Well, I'm going to add a little bit of a sequel to my last video where I was frustrated because I didn't have the words. I still don't have all the words. I know what's going on. I'm mixing bread and milk and beer, those three arts of making them. I'm crossing them over, uh, and and I'm questioning the need for pasteurization. That's for sure. Now, I need to learn more about E. coli and salmonella poisoning. Uh, if I'm going to be talking about pasteurization, because they're obviously, they're in this. I'm talking about bacteria and um, good and bad bacteria. But one of the things I thought, well, no, and I wanted to say something else. Right at the end of my video, I said that cities, almost by nature, pasteurize themselves. It was ironic that I said by nature, because nature is taken out by being without nature. Uh, it would be more accurate. Uh, and when I say pasteurize themselves, I mean they make an environment that has to be pasteurized because there's so many humans in that one spot is basically the problem, and they're so close together. But anyway, I don't want to go into that. I just wanted to say that after I finished the video, I thought to myself, what about cider? Because last year, or maybe the year before, I brewed my own beer. I experimented with brewing beer, and I brewed a lot of beer. I drank it. Finally, at the end, I came up with a beer that I didn't drink. But I was completely heedless of sanitation. I didn't, modern hobbyists that brew their own beer, they sterilize everything. They have some kind of a solution that they wipe everything with all the time. It's something to see. And of course, they heat stuff up they have their thermometers, and they're all precise. And I was doing none of that. My goal was to try to brew beer like a Norwegian peasant would 200 years ago. I told them that in there at the Spring Dam Brewery. And I haven't deserted that. I'm going to go back to that. The yeast has to be just right. And I thought, well, how did they do it back then? I learned a lot. They could actually do it without fire at all, in a way. There was something called stone beer that they would heat up stones and then with tongs or something like that, put stones in the well, it wouldn't be the beer yet. That would have been the wort. Again, I hadn't better get into all that. But anyway, I was thinking, what about cider? You didn't have to heat that up at all. No fire whatsoever. And apple juice becomes hard cider. Apple juice is so disgusting if you try to, well, maybe you love it, I don't know. I find it undrinkable. But once it's turned into hard cider, that's another matter. And it does, you don't pasteurize it because the yeast coming off the skin of the apples, it's all over the place. I mean, if you pasteurized your apple juice, I mean, I'm sure it could be done, and then you introduce just the right kind of yeast you want, it could be done. But far from being any pasteurization, there's no fire at all in that. Now I was thinking, well, wine's the same thing, and both will keep really indefinitely. I read cider, hard cider, 2 years. I think it just doesn't taste the same after 2 years, and wine, hundreds of years. But I'm jumping across from one product to another. And the other thing I'll maybe say now is that it's in a way it's making me crazy, because this morning I'm going to make a sourdough starter. I'm going to feed my sourdough starter, and I'll probably feed it daily for a while. And I began to clabber more milk, so I had more clabber to work with. And when I right there now, heating next or warming next to the furnace, I've got milk, skim milk now, because I skimmed the cream off. And I put some clabber. I only had a little bit of clabber from last week. I put some clabber in it, and I didn't put any rennet in it at all. It's just, I'll just let it warm up and I'll make cottage cheese with that. So, oh, and still, I guess one other thing I can say. I've come to realize that what I'm doing right here is I'm adding to this complex a kitchen. It'll be a full kitchen of the old kind. No refrigerator, no electric appliances, no microwave, no oven really either, just two hot plates. They will be electric, but they wouldn't have to be. And I'm just gradually learning to do things the old way, and what a brave new world. And I realize I've actually got books back there about country kitchens, so I've got lots to learn. All right.